Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 True Sports. Coming to you with a quick segment. I like women's basketball, and I don't know if you all noticed, but if you look under the video titled "I want to see the O line downfield, I want to see the D line get to the ball." If you see that title on the Well Off Media, if you watch it to the end, it actually shows something that I've been wishing and hoping would happen. And that was the women's basketball. They kick off another 20 days. So, of course, they've been practicing. So, guess who showed up at the practice, at Shalamar's practice in the University of Women's Colorado basketball? That was Coach Prime, Well Off Media, and Reach the People Media. Now, I'm not saying they're going to cover them every day. I don't know what their plans are, but I know I created a video on it, and to see them actually doing this makes me feel great. And it says a lot about Coach Prime and his influence. He knows what his influence can have, obviously, and for him to even show up there like that, even give the coach a hug. Little things like that means a lot to a program, especially for women's sports who don't get a lot of the attention that we all know that they should give. But while Reach the Media is there, they're there watching. He actually goes over and interviews a player who's she's rehabbing on the bike. Her name is Jalen Sherrod. Hopefully I'm saying her name correctly. And just from his interview, I'm going to go look her up and see what she's all about. She did say that she only got one Power 5 offer that was from Colorado. She's a dog, and she only knows to get it out the mud. So right then, it's going to make me go look her up and find out who she is, and I'm going to keep up with her throughout the season. And that's the influence that they could have, and that's the influence I was hoping that they would have. I just think it's cool. And I remember when I released the video, some people wrote back to me, and they weren't lying on what they were saying. They were saying that they probably won't show them much attention because they didn't cover anything at Jackson State, and they was talking about how Shalimar right now doesn't play a lot, which I told them they were correct in what they were saying, but I said I think it's bigger than just covering her. It's covering the women's program. It's for women's sports. It's for women's basketball. And if they get a quarter of the attention that the men's football has gotten, it'll be crazy for that program. And I just think that's cool. And that's actually what I talked about in my previous video about where they cover Shalimar. So I just think it's cool. I think both of those media outlets, just the girls seeing them there does a lot. I'm sure the girls talked about it when they get back to the locker room, because that's some cool stuff. They know what could come from that. They know the type of attention that can come from that. Possible NIL deals, who knows, can come from that. And I promise you, they're going to get a couple of recruits that they probably would have never gotten without little things like this happening, if it continues throughout the season. Small things like that make a big difference. Also, just to throw in the men's basketball team, they're ranked number 28, so they're only 3 spots out of the top 25. So both of those programs are good, just like I told you all weeks ago, because I stumbled upon the women's program by accident. I was at a Duke game for the NCAA tournament. I think it was the second round. They played it at Duke, and they beat Duke at Duke, and that's what made me look them up. And then look at, Coach Prime is there. So we're hoping that they get some of that attention. Now, of course, the men average over 50,000 people at their games. I'm not saying it's going to be 50,000 at the women's games, but I don't know what their attendance is now. But can you imagine if they get 10 to 15,000 some nights coming to the women's games? What they would do for those young women. So it's something to look into. So I'm happy that I saw that, and I'm proud that that happened. And I wanted to just create a quick video on that because it just happened a couple of days ago. And when talking about the number 50,000 real quick, while I have your attention, we'll switch that over to, again, women's basketball and University of Iowa. They just played in front of 55,000 fans, which I thought was crazy. So we know it can happen, but they put a basketball court in the end zone of the football field. Over 55,000 showed up. I don't know if you all follow Iowa sports, but they play. The stadium is right there in front of a children's hospital, and of course, all the children get to watch it, and they got to see a historical moment of these women playing in front of so many people on the football field, which I just think is the craziest thing. And it can stretch a lot for women. women's basketball. Things that may seem small is really big, because I can tell you now, if I'm a recruit and I want to go to a Power 5 program, let's say I want to leave home, experience something differently. I found a new program in Colorado. They have a big time, obviously, football program with Coach Prime and everybody there. It's a great place to live as far as, how the scenery looks and everything and what everybody says about it. Yeah, that would grab my attention. And then I can come there and I can get even a quarter of the media attention, or, coverage, however way you want to look at it. I can get that as well. And I may can flip it into an NIL deal, because it's all about personality and production. If they love your personality and you're producing on the court, you may get some calls. You might get your free car to drive around in, or, who knows what you can get, something to pay your rent, who knows. But I just think it's a great thing. You all need to look up the Iowa game. It was over 55,000 people. That's led by one of the best players in the nation, Caitlin Clark. I hope I'm saying her name right, but she's one of the top players in the top scorer, big time 3-point shooter. In some games, she up to 40 to 45 points. And in this particular game, she had 41 points. They played against the University of DePaul. And she did her thing. She's definitely a WNBA player. So that's something to look into as well while I have your attention. But overall, I appreciate seeing Reach the Media and Well Off Media at the game and Coach Prime. At their practice. I'm gonna say this about, for myself, to make me and everyone else laugh. I think they looked at my video. They'll never admit it. They looked at my video. They said, "Hey, this could be a great idea. Let's go over here and cover this practice and see what we can do for this program." Because I think Coach Prime knows right now that his daughter may not play, which makes me respect him even more, that he truly cares about that program or what's going on over there. So hopefully if they play on TV, I told you I'm going to support it and watch it. I got to look at their schedule. If they come anywhere close to either Maryland or North Carolina, I will go and watch it. And if they make the tournament, which I'm going to say they will make the tournament, if it's anywhere close, I will go and watch it. And I'm looking to get some type of gear. Once some gear's released, I need to find out where their gear is, because just to show some real support financially as well. But let's just not pay attention to the men's football team. So even you guys, sometimes just check them out, man. Just tune in and check them out. You may become a fan. You might start liking one player's particular game or two players' particular game. You may like the style of play that they do. Next thing you know, you're going to start following them and going to games. And I'm gonna do a video on that too, going to women's games. But just take your time and look into it. The football team, they have 5 games left. We still ride on them, of course, all the way, but it's we can do 2 things at one time, and also flip it to the women's basketball team and support them however way we can, and also you can support your local women's basketball teams, and I'll talk about that in another video. So I appreciate your time. Again, I'm happy that Coach Prime, Well Off Media, and Reach the Media were there at their practice, giving them some of that social media influence and exposure, and let's see where it goes from here. I'm hoping they follow them all season, but we'll see. It's Hunt 919 True Sports. Ride with me.